Hello and welcome to a special episode of Platinum Explosion where we're discussing PlayStation Productions' The Last of Us HBO series, episode 7, Left Behind. My name's Dylan Blight. Joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey John, excited to be here and excited to let you know I won't leave you behind.
Thanks, because I could do the show by myself. What was that? Actually, I don't know.
Wow, okay.
What a turn! I really got you on that.
Very fickle.
So Left Behind is, of course, the name of the DLC for The Last of Us, and it's the prequel flashback DLC that released a couple months after the release of the first game. Tells the story of what's her name?
It's the story of how Ellie got bitten.
It's the story of how Ellie got bitten, but also like her relationship with Riley, and it's sort of important to. And they do a really good job, I think, of in this episode tying it more, like making it very obvious, more thematically why this story matters, like into her current choices, why she's flashing back, and all that sort of stuff. I tell you what, Ash, before we get into thoughts on the episode, when they were talking about bringing out The Last of Us Part 1, and I was like, small adjustments, small changes, just do some little things. Literally what this does is what I've been pitching for them to do in that fucking game since the Part 1, when they were going to re-release it. I was like, just have it so the DLC's not on the main menu, just have it happen here. Have it happen here. Just have it.
But what if you just want to play the DLC?
No. Too bad. It's like the Watchmen Complete Edition. You got to watch 4 hours. You got to watch the director's cut. You got to watch the Black Freighter animated thing. You got to watch whatever the fuck else. You got to watch it all, right? So this is like that. So
maybe.
Just saying. Anyway, what do you think of this week's episode?
Fantastic. Right up there with the best the show's had. Really enjoyable. I had not played or watched the DLC of the day. I'm like, fuck, I need to be consistent. I'll watch a playthrough.
Did you really?
Like right before. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like, I'll watch a playthrough and see how
fresh
close.
in your mind.
Like, it was only like an hour or something. So, I mean, I think like the thankfully whoever I watched like cut out a lot of the combat, so, which I feel like would have padded it.
I don't think there's any combat really.
There is in the current day sections.
In the current day stuff, but yeah.
So yeah, contrasting them like right back to back, it's like they really did a fantastic job of like telling that story. Obviously, it's all flashback. They cut all the present day stuff, but that's kind of be expected, especially seeing as they're in a pretty subdued, setting. He's just in some random house, whereas like in the DLC, they go inside a mall as well. So that it makes a little bit more sense why she would kind of be flashing back to her time with Riley in a mall and her going through this mall trying to find Joel some medicine. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Storm Reed, fantastic. Bella Ramsey, like again, stunning. Like, I at this point, I don't care if you think she's Ellie or not. I think she's doing a fantastic performance. Like, if she's not close enough to the Ellie that you think in your mind, who cares? It's like her version of Ellie. I'm all here for it. So, yeah, I loved this episode.
Yeah, I agree. Fantastic episode. Really great interpretation of the story from the game and everything. Written by Neil Druckmann this episode as well. Solo from him. I can't remember because you tell me because you just watched a playthrough. I don't recall there being that much back and forth and conversations about Fedra and Fireflies. I remember some, but not to the degree that's in this.
Not as much as this. It was like
no.
Oh, I guess there was a lot of you joined the Fireflies. That's cool to start off with, and then like. There wasn't so much like the motivations and like, we're going to try and kill each other and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the way they do it in this one because it is like star-crossed lovers, I guess, a sort of scenario.
There was no, oh, you've got like a stockpile of bombs, you know?
Yeah.
That was new.
Yeah. But they're like having full-on discussions about who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. You think you're the good guy. I think I'm the bad guy. Like, you've like, and starting the episode and seeing Ellie in the
camp,
Fedra
which is also different.
which we've never seen before. Never seen anything like that in the games at all. And then having her sit down with the principal, I guess, or whatever his actual thing is.
Like officer or whatever, yeah.
Officer, and getting like told, you know, you could be this, you could do this, or whatever, you know, be shoveling shit in your life and all this. You know, like she's getting indoctrinated into this sort of lifestyle. You know, like Fedra's the shit. We keep, like he literally says, we keep this town together. We keep this place running. Like if it wasn't for us, everything would fall apart. And then you get later into the episode where Riley's like, free the people, you know, we're the people. Like, you know, it's very I enjoyed the change of conversation. It's much more realistic. An interesting, nuanced take on the whole, you know, fuck the system versus the freedom fighters sort of stuff that's going on between the Fireflies and the would-be government of Fedra.
I think the only change that kind of irked me a little bit was Riley's like, oh, I was going to be shoveling shit. That's why I joined the Fireflies. It's like, being on the other side is better than, you know, being responsible for people shoveling shit. Whereas in the game, she's like, it feels like she's headhunted almost.
Yeah.
So
I guess, but like, she
actually in the game, it feels like they both want to join the Fireflies.
Yeah.
Like there isn't this juxtaposition.
In this, they say she would. They do have a line that she said she would always joke about joining the Fireflies.
Mm.
But and then they still have the whole thing where Marlene does headhunt her. And I guess, yes, there is that thing of I was going to be shoveling shit, so like this is better than anything.
Yeah.
But they still make sure to, I guess, have enough in there that it's implied and you gather from Riley's sort of character that she's someone who probably fits in better there, like with the sort of anarchist nature of her and sort of rebel spirit sort of thing that's going on. So I mean, you already hear about how much trouble she'd get in, you know, people saying like, oh, you know, straight away that girl that Ellie gets into
Bridget.
a fight with, being like, your friend isn't here to protect you anymore and all that sort of stuff. So
15 stitches. She gave her 15 stitches, you know.
Fucked her up.
You know, she loves violence, as we've come to know. Yeah. As we've come to know.
But yeah, they did such a good job of. And I think, I definitely felt it's one of Bella Ramsey's strongest performances just because of I don't know, it's hard to say. Definitely one of her best performances in capturing, I guess, the spirit of Ellie, just that sort of childlike wonder.
There's so much range in this episode.
Yeah, she's like sad, angry, overjoyed at an escalator. Like, there's just a lot of...
Man, that escalator. Moving stairs.
What do you mean? I'm going forward. I'm going backwards. I'm going forward. I'm not even moving anymore. It's fun. Like, just the joy of it all. The only thing I feel like just doesn't translate anywhere near as well is the fighting game scene. I do feel like that's a bit... like,
what? Because it's actual fighting rather than her explaining it?
No, it just doesn't... I don't know. Maybe it's just the way...
You're like, fucking product placement.
No, like I understand why it's Mortal Kombat. That doesn't bother me really. It just feels, it doesn't feel as exciting. Whereas in the game, you've got the whole like the camera's like behind the screen and just the way it's like produced in the game compared to this. It didn't feel as exciting. It didn't feel the same sort of. I don't know.
It's because you're not doing it.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. You're not doing it, so that was the only thing I felt like. Out of all the levels of excitement, everything felt as exciting. Or even actually, no, I'll say I didn't feel like the photo stuff felt as exciting. Like it was still a fun scene, but I'll say even again that in the game and having some freedom of choice of what you're doing made it just feel Yeah, there's a certain element of when you choose to do certain things in the game that just make them feel so much more impactful and just bring you closer to that experience than just watching these scenes play out on screen. So that the game and the photos, I feel like didn't hit quite as well, but they still work. It's fine, especially if you don't have the game to compare it to.
Yeah,
you're probably not even going to notice. But for, they were the two things that stood out to me. No water pistol fight though. Come on, we done. That down there.
They had to cut it down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I didn't like the reveal that there was an infected in the building. I don't know why they needed to show you that. I think it would have been like, what difference did it make revealing that 10 minutes earlier? I guess
just built the tension, I guess.
But I feel like there was always that tension. There's always that, like, you could play the scene out and you could always be like, if you direct and do it well and edit it well and everything, you can get that emotion over without ever showing. Like Ellie's walking back after having to fight. You hear something in the distance, like a can or whatever. Like you could shoot it and do it. Like, is it actually infected in here? You know what I mean? Like it's just, I feel like cutting away to show it. I was like, I don't know. I don't feel like that was necessary to get the tension up for the scene. Because then it kind of meant that I feel like for every moment thereafter, especially when they're having these big emotional conversations and scenes and everything like that, you're waiting. Yeah, you're just now that you know that there's an infected
is this the moment that's...
Yeah. Whereas if you didn't know, but you were maybe for the majority of the time they're going around on the carousel and stuff, like in the back of the mind, you're like, maybe there is infected in here because they say it at the start. Ellie's like, that place, they blocked it off because it was infected. So it's implanted in your brain and maybe you're lulled into a sense of safety, much like they are, and then the infected comes out then. But yeah, I just feel like having that, you're always like, okay, is it coming out now? Is it coming out now? It sort of distracts you from paying more attention to the emotion between the two characters. So that was my only, I'd say that was the major sort of gripe was just that change. Because that's obviously something they don't do in the game either. They don't like cut away to show you cut away from the characters to show you there's an infected somewhere in the building sort of thing. Yeah. Storm Reed was really, really good. As Riley, I very much enjoyed that they kept she's old. Well, I don't know if she's older. They've aged the character up, or obviously Storm Reed just looks older.
Well, she said she was going to be 17, and Ellie's like 14, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember
so
in the
she's a
game
bit older.
if
I feel like they're pretty much the same age.
Yeah, because they definitely look the same age in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, Storm Reed definitely looks older than. You can tell she's a couple years older than Bella Ramsey, or at least she looks. I have no idea if they're actually. Let me check real quickly. Let's see.
While you're doing that, I will say she looks incredibly like Zendaya. So, shout outs to the Euphoria casting team.
I was gonna say, have you actually seen her in anything like
A Wrinkle in Time?
Yeah, okay.
That one episode of Euphoria I watched?
I was gonna say, I think she's obviously most known for playing Zendaya's sister in Euphoria at this stage, I feel, but she's also in The Missing at the moment, which I still haven't watched.
Yeah, this is very good timing, I guess.
They're the exact same age, so they're both 19. But at least in the respect to the show, Storm Reed definitely looks older. She's taller. She's you could age difference there. So
she was in the Suicide Squad as well. Remember, she was Idris daughter.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah,
whole
key moment.
Yep, key moment. What was I going to say? Fuck, I forgot. I love how they don't change the ending. I like that they don't explain what happened. Yeah, because that was one thing they
pretty much do it line for line, which is perfect. I mean, it's in a different setting or whatever, but
yeah, I think in
from when she's like destroying stuff to the camera cutting away. I mean, it's pretty much beat for beat.
In the game they're outside, right?
They're inside, but like on scaffolding or whatever.
Yeah, something. Okay.
They almost escaped. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it because the thing is, and I don't think they've ever, unless there's like some secret conversation in The Last of Us 2 or something like they've missed. It's never said, and it doesn't really need to be said. Like, it either plays out one or two ways. Either Ellie leaves her, she turns, Ellie runs away, she escapes. Well, actually, there's three ways, I guess, technically. Ellie shoots her, is another way. She has to kill her.
Yeah.
Or third, Marlene turns up at that place, kills Riley, and stops Ellie from being killed.
I mean, that's the most logical. Well, it's one of the two most logical. Well, Marlene definitely shows up. It's like whether Ellie kill her or not.
It's whether Ellie's killed, because they give us the times in this show, at least, like how long it takes. They've been bitten in hotspots. They don't have much longer to go. So
my major gripe, her arm placement when she's firing off the clicker, it didn't look like she would at any point get bit.
They're fast. They're fast little snappers, you know. We'll get you.
Yes, maybe.
They get you.
But like her arms were like very far away from his face. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's fair. Anything else from this episode?
No, just so many really cute, adorable moments. Whether they're looking at the like production design of this episode is stellar. Like the abandoned shopping mall. I don't know whether they found an abandoned shopping mall or they did up a shopping mall to look like that, but it looks amazing. But then looking at the Victoria's Secret, and they're like, why would people wear this stuff? It just looks so uncomfortable. I imagine it probably is. And yeah, just the cuteness between them and, you know, obviously them sharing their first kiss and all that kind of stuff. Very cool. Again, you know, showcasing very key moments, I feel like, about Ellie, especially going forward. Like her reaction to the bad news is just destroy everything. Yeah. The whole Halloween shop thing. Like, even them getting almost identical masks to the game. Really cool. Yeah. They did, again, another stellar job bringing the game to life. And then, of course, we close the of course, the whole thing is her not wanting to leave Joel. And it all leading up to that speech of Riley saying we want to fight for every single moment we have together. And now Ellie choosing not to leave Joel like he asks, and instead fight to keep him in her life as long as possible. And then, you know, having to sew him up, which is very different to his conscious, which is the major difference between, you know. So you see his facial reaction to him sewing him up. Yeah. Also, the wound is quite different, you know. Yeah. It's like not all the way through the body.
Yeah, this is a much more realistically survivable wound than the one he has in the game. Yeah, I enjoyed the whole just the cutaway and then the flashback, and of course when she's not remembering everything we watch, it's just that memory is obviously it's just that memory. She has a flicker of memory of Riley, and she chooses to turn around and fight to save a person that she cares about. Like the thing there is like we know as an audience she cares about Joel. That much is evident, but she's staying to fight. She cares enough to stay and fight for him, and instead of running away now, trying to get help, or just leaving him for good, sort of any of those above. So it was always an important moment in the game, I guess, as far as the relationship goes, and yeah, I feel like they've done a good job here. I'm wondering how they'll cut away to next. Again, definitely don't go into spoilers next week yet, but obviously when this part ends, next week's episode should open with a particular shot, maybe. But the DLC ends with they don't show them like leaving. The DLC does end.
No, they show her strapping Joel up to the back of the horse, like
did they? Okay, cool. I couldn't remember. Yeah, okay, I couldn't remember if they did that or not. So yeah, okay, cool.
I think they're not leaving that location. I think David's going to be in that town that they're in. They happen to.
I feel like she's moving, but not far. Like she's moving just to another building or something. Sure. Like
I don't know.
All right. I got you, babe.
Yep.
Also, a little shout out to the little lingerie sequence. That was quite funny.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Broke a heart, you know?
Yep.
Laughing at it like that. And we got the origin of the pun book. Yeah. Delivered a whole bunch of puns from the game, but I think the last one was new. Just for the show. Yeah.
DLC puns.
DLC puns. Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for this PlayStation Productions discussion on the Platinum Explosion podcast feed. Check out all the regular episodes of Platinum Explosion, of course, for a discussion on regular PlayStation content. And we'll be back next week. We're down to two
episodes left.
2 episodes. Crazy.
Also, to all those people saying, "Oh, it's a flashback episode. It's taking us away from the story." Someone pointed out, this is the story. This is the story.
No,
it's not
zombies
important.
in my zombie show. There's only one zombies, and they made Ellie gay. That wasn't in the game. No, I never played the DLC, but it wasn't in the main game. Did you play 2? No, that was woke. Yeah, all right. Thank you very much for joining. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, explosionnetwork.com/Twitter, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. Check out explosionnetwork.com. Come back to listen to me make fun of fucking dickheads next week. Until then, yeah, have a great time. Bye.